Hey, this is Ed Rigsbee here, the author of The ROI of Membership. And you've heard me talk a lot of times about, who should do the qualitative research. And I have with me today Matt Mantione. I've known him for a long time. He's Vice President of Membership, Marketing and Sales at the Transportation Intermediaries Association. And we've worked together in the past. And, you know, recently, Matt had an interesting experience that he talked to me about. Uh, Matt is a very good public speaker. He has very good presence, very bright guy. We spent 2 or 3 sessions on the telephone coaching on how to do a qualitative session. But then in the final result, Matt, tell us what happened. How did it go for you?
Yeah, that's funny, and I appreciate the introduction. You're very kind. So, and I appreciate your time talking to me prior to this focus group. I had about 15, 20 people or so in preparation for doing the ROI evaluation that we talked about. So I was excited. So I prepped a long time. You and I spent a lot of time together, and I'm like, okay, I got this. And you were telling me, which I thought now was very interesting to me, as far as, are you sure you don't want me to just come in? And I said, no, I got this. I know I got this. Doing a lot of public speaking, doing a lot of focus groups. I think most folks, my friends, colleagues in the same seat would probably agree that, oh, they can do this. We understand membership, we understand strategy, value proposition. So I'm like, okay, there'll be some little curveballs here and there, but nothing that I can't handle. So the day of happens. I'm all excited. I get folks warmed up. We kind of talk about the purpose of being here. Of course, I did say afterwards we're going to have some, food and beverage, which was the enticing part of being a part of it. It was before the conference, so some folks, of course, couldn't make it, but got some folks to change their plans. But I digress. So opened it up and talked about the purposes of ROI evaluation, what we're trying to accomplish here. Excuse me. And of course, from an organizational standpoint, I want to use that for membership recruitment, retention strategies, and to a lot of stuff that we talked about, to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So, having the real dollar value ROI, and we did this before in another organization, is something that our organization, we want to do that, and a lot of us, a lot of case studies, a lot of books written about as far as, member pricing and doing the delta on that, which works if communicated the right way. Absolutely, it does, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, and we still do it. I wanted an ACE card. I wanted something that not a lot of organizations have done, whereas the member is telling us what they value and putting a price on that, right? So it sounds easy. So again, let me kind of get into it. It won't take me long. So we just had some fun. I print out a couple of slides here. So I say, I send you on a 5-day trip to Waikiki. And, you don't owe me nothing. 5 days, you're going to go. Here's what I'm paying for, this, that, and this 5-star hotel. You come back and I sit you down and I tell you, how much is that worth to you? How much did you pay me for that whole trip? So it kind of warmed them up, and people were like, oh, I would pay $10,000 for that. I would pay this. So it was fun. Did the same thing with, of course, I'm buying dinner, a glass of wine, a nice steak. We've all done that. So had some, again, kind of to warm them up. So we started the conversation, and I actually had success early. So that was one piece of success I had with having some fun, telling a couple of stories, of course, which warmed them up. And I got into one of our features, which is our model contracts that we offer, which is a very sought after benefit for our members. It's proprietary documentation that are reviewed by our lawyers. They're not paying for that as part of their membership, and kind of put it on the screen as far as what that is and what those things are, what those features are. We kind of go through them. And I'm sorry, but before that, I did outline all of the features of membership up front and talk about here's what we're trying to accomplish. So I did do that based on your feedback to me. And again, that worked well. Most of them knew, raised their hand if you knew, and most of them did, some didn't. So again, another thing I noted as well. So I got into the model contracts that we offer as an association that are extremely important to our members. And I had success, like I said, so it took, but I had it slated for 2 hours. This took an hour. This took me an hour to talk through, to channel Ed and go, what would Ed do right now? Thinking about those key indicator questions, trying to get them to understand what we're trying to accomplish. We got through it, but we got through it in a way where I had to aggregate all of the contracts. So I wanted her to go one by one. So we went a different direction, and I started feeling, I guess the words would be maybe a little bit, maybe losing a little confidence, maybe losing a little bit of confidence, thinking it's not exactly going the way I envisioned it going based on our conversations and based on what you write about. So again, the success I had with this feature, which includes about 7 to 10 contracts that we offer to our members only, it's not available for non-members. I did get an average dollar amount that they would pay annually, which was, again, the second part of my success. So it was around an average with those 15 to 20 people. I had ranges from 3,000 to 13,000, and I got on average 7. So 7,000. So I got one thing, and we still use that right now. We have conversations with some of our sales folks. I know this is a very sought after membership feature, and we talk about how we had a focus group, and some of the members did say on average they would pay $7,000, which is about 400% more or 500% more than the membership costs for the lowest membership category that we offer, right? So that was some success. Now, I can go on and on about this, but as I said, I was losing some confidence, and I went to sort of advocacy, government affairs, talked about that. I talked about headquarters staff. How much time does it save you? Who's calling them? What do you, think about what you're making as an annual salary. Don't tell me, but think about this. What time is it saving you? What are you getting from it? And I started getting really challenged with questions about that doesn't make sense. That's just what, we know we get your staff, but, how do you break it down? I was trying to explain it, and they weren't understanding where I was coming from. So I had a little bit of it doesn't really happen to me, but I had a little bit of cold sweat going on the neck. And at that moment, he was right. Because I also had a slight, I don't get frustrated, but I had a slight bit of frustration only from a noble intent standpoint, whereas I was really hoping that I could communicate this so well that I wouldn't be challenged. But it was so new to them. It was something that they've never had a conversation about because they don't know associations. They don't know what they don't know, right? And that's our jobs. But again, a long story short, I was starting to be challenged. I started to get uncomfortable. And from an uncomfortable standpoint, I wanted to challenge back in a good way, and I started to, but I started getting very uncomfortable. And I tried for about 30 minutes. I switched features to get something easier that I thought would be easier to talk through. It didn't work the way I wanted it to work because of the challenging questions I was getting. And as a staff person, these members are my customers, as anybody else that works for association. Those are our customers. Those are folks that we care about. We come to work every day to support. And there was a piece where I don't want to get into it. I felt uncomfortable challenging 15 to 20 people with the same thought. Like, man, it doesn't make any sense. Well, it's just what is it? What are you charging for? That's what I pay. Things like that. Whereas if I had someone like you there, I'm sitting back, and you would challenge that. And I've seen you do it. You would challenge it and get them, almost demand them to a point where they're giving you an answer, they're giving you what you would do. And to me, that is tremendous value in having somebody else besides the staff person do it. Somebody outside the staff, in my opinion, based on the experience that I tried to do something different out of my comfort zone in a way, because I've never done it, I gave it a shot. And so I switched gears back to some normal, membership focus group questions that we've all done before, which was very valuable. I took some pieces back with me and, shifted it over to the membership committee, for example, for some things to talk about. So it was still valuable because we got together, and I was fairly new, so I was able to introduce myself to everybody. So I went back to my comfort zone, things I know how to do and know how to work and know how to execute it comfortably, strategically, with the result in mind that I wanted, and I got that. But that was not what I envisioned starting off. It was
Sure.
not what I envisioned starting off. So that's kind of the long story short, Ed, on that. And I appreciate all your time helping me on that. I thought it was very valuable. I really enjoyed the challenge. I don't believe that, I don't believe I failed. I learned a lot from that experience. But again, one of those things I learned is, and what I believe in is strategic partners. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been successful as an association practitioner, is to utilize folks like you.
So Matt,
in a process like this.
in the final analysis, I mean, well, you did the session, you learned some things, you had a good time, but ultimately, while it was a partial success, the ultimate member ROI number didn't happen. As far as taking all of the member-only features and creating that number. So I guess and this is, obviously a self-serving question, but not meant to be, in the respect that, if you had it to do over again, would you bring in an outsider, or would you try it again yourself?
Oh, well, no question. I would call you.
Well, I mean,
the conversation will be different. The conversation would be, here's what we're trying to accomplish. Are you available?
Yeah. Thanks.
That would be the conversation.
No, I really appreciate you talking about this, because, I've had this conversation with quite a number of association people like yourself that are very bright people, that are rock stars, that are good public speakers, that are good facilitators, that have great presence. And I think as you told me, and you've mentioned here on this video, is that you got to a place where you just couldn't push them anymore, because it would be uncomfortable for you in your position as a staff person. Whereas an outsider can come in and be, I hate to say it, but a little bit of a jerk, not intentional, but an outsider can push harder. And when the outsider leaves, a few of the people can go, well, that person was a jerk. And the staff person go, well, perhaps, but look at here, at least we have the numbers now. And so that's really what I was hoping to, I really hope to get this message across to everybody out there. Whether you're a state association, whether you're a national association, whether you're in California, whether you're in Washington, D.C., whether your meeting is in San Diego or New York, and whether it's me or some other professional, it's just so much better. Rather than using a staff person or a volunteer leader, bring an outsider in that can do the job. And Matt, I really appreciate you sharing this. Not everybody's willing to pull back the kimono. And one thing that I love about you is you're willing to share the truth.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Ed. I appreciate it. Enjoyed sharing it.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much.